good morning. So how do we know when it's time to retire? That's a good question, right? Well, I'm getting ready to retire, so I'm going to tell you what I learned. I've been doing some research now for over a year, maybe 2 years. And I could tell you that it's different for everyone. I could tell you it comes down to your situation financially and what's going on with your home life and when you're on your job and your health and all those things. I could tell you how I made my decision. And I remember where I work, it's a little different. I've been at the same job for 34 years. And where I am, a lot of times people don't retire because they have to. They get to retire when they want to. And I don't mean like in general, they don't retire at 20 years old. But what I mean is they get to a point where they're eligible to retire, and a lot of people stay longer because it's a decent job and they don't necessarily want to retire. But what people used to say, I used to hear them say when I was younger, was when you're ready to retire, when it's time for you to retire, you'll just know. And it made sense to me, I guess, but now it makes more sense to me because I just know it's time for me to retire. And that's where I am right now. I'm driving, I got the day off, driving to the registry to renew my registration because they won't let me do it through the mail. I don't know why, or online, I mean. But anyway, I came to the conclusion, having been in the same place for 34 years, I'm just done. I'm done with the situation. I'm done with the red tape where I work. The people are wonderful. I've worked with many, many people over the years, and they're fantastic. Hardworking people that want to do great things for the industry. But it's just, I've had enough. I've been there and seen it, and I've seen things come around over the years so many times, and new people come in and they think they're gonna do something for the first time. Oh, I've got this new idea, and I've seen that new idea every 5 years for 34 years, and I just kind of go with it. Okay, this is gonna be a big deal for a year, and then we're gonna forget all about it. I've seen this so many times. You just kind of go with it. And you get a new boss every now and then, and you just got to figure out what makes them tick, what they're excited about. So, but after a while, after so many years, you just get to the point where you're tired of change, Life is about change, and I hate change. And I guess I'm in the wrong industry for someone who hates change. But at a certain age, you just don't want to change anymore. You just, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think that an old dog gets to the place in life where he just doesn't want to learn new tricks anymore, He just doesn't want to. I remember when my mom and dad got a little older and we were trying to get them a cell phone and a computer, and they just didn't want to know. My mom, we bought her a cell phone, and it was too much. She didn't want to learn it, It wasn't that she couldn't, she didn't want to. And then we tried to get her a little tablet, which was a step up before a computer. We said you'll be able to play on Facebook. And as much as she wanted to go on Facebook for the nosiness, she wanted to see what other people were doing and what they were saying. After a week, it was overwhelming. She said, no, it's too much. I don't want to do it. Take it away. Give it to one of the nieces or one of the grandkids. I just want to sit in front of the TV every day and veg. I don't want to learn anything new, And I think that's how a lot of people are. So how do you know when it's time to retire? You just, in my industry, you just know. I'm going to retire at the earliest possible date. And for me, that's even earlier than 62. For me, it's 59. Because I have the opportunity to do that. And in a future video, I'll explain why. But what I've done is I've done a lot of research over the past 2 years. I started looking at my finances. How am I going to survive? Or am I going to have to still have a job? Do I have enough money in my 401k? Things like that. I'm not the type of guy who's just going to sit around and do nothing. So what am I going to do when I retire? I looked into that as well, because if I sit around and do nothing, I know I'll get lazy, I'll probably get depressed, and that won't be good either. So I have that figured out. So I have the finances figured out, I hope. I have what I'm, my future as far as working, what I'm going to do figured out. So I think I'm in a good place. I have a mortgage and a car payment. If any debt besides that, but that's big enough debt. That I'll have because of some things that happen in life. I will have a mortgage payment. So that's been figured into the plan, and I think it'll work out fine. So at this point, this is just a very basic first video on retirement. I think the first advice I would give anyone based on what I've learned is do some research. Start watching videos. YouTube is amazing. I've watched hundreds of videos on YouTube, and retirement seems to be a big thing out there for people who are about to retire. It seems to be a big topic for people who have retired. You can learn a lot. There are a lot of sites out there where people talk about what it's like being retired. Some people move to other countries. Some people simplify their life. Some people do different things, but you can learn a lot. And there are financial advisors who talk about it. There are people who talk about pensions and what works and what doesn't, and how to slowly take money out of your retirement funds without having to pay taxes or as much taxes. So you can learn a ton of stuff on YouTube. And even if you just watch one video every night for 10 minutes, I would suggest that. That's very, very helpful, and I've done that for a while now. So that's what I would suggest at this point. Start doing your research. Start thinking in your head, what kinds of things should you expect? And what kinds of things, know yourself, know who you are, and what type of person you are, and what it might be like for you when it comes to retirement. What kind of things do you expect to struggle with? If you are a nervous person, then are you going to be worried about money all the time? If you are if you are a jittery person, you always have to be doing something. Is retirement right for you? Or are you going to have something that you have to go to? Are you going to have at least a part-time job, or a plan to be with the grandkids all the time, or something to do with yourself so you don't go stir crazy being at home? Do you have a spouse that's going to be at home? Are you guys going to drive each other crazy? A lot of things you have to think about. So I guess that's about it for this first video. Give you a little something to think about, and I'll be back shortly with the next video. Okay, take care.